I will just say one thing, which is when your thoughts, words, and actions align, you'll become a magnet to miracles. To have more than you got to become more than you are. So just keep working on yourself.
Good morning. Good morning, Sid. It's wonderful to have you here from all the way from India. You have been my mentor. I've admired you so much right from the very beginning. You've guided me through many, many difficult times and interesting times. And I'm firstly very grateful for all of that. And secondly, I'm very privileged to have you here on Voices of the Future, to hear your voice, to hear, how that amplifies and resonates. So firstly, welcome, Sid.
Thank you. Thank you, Tariq. And the feeling is mutual. You've been a mentor to me as well and exposed me to a whole new world of possibilities. So thank you, Tariq. Great to be here. Yes.
Super. I think both of us, you say possibilities, I work on abundance, and I know you
Yes.
use words like that too. And, in some recent presentations, my first slide is, the world is better than you think. And there's happy people there, and people saying, Derek, which world are you living in? And my view is that the world I'm living in is, if I take an expanded view from a high point, as an eagle would, yes, we have little glitches here and there, but overall we're living in good times. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that. I think when you rewind time and look at, say, 1,000 years ago, the lifestyle, the kind of dangers people were going through in those civilizations is nothing compared to what we are living in today. And I think the last 50 years has been, I'm so privileged to be born at a time where I saw the era where there were, the black and white TVs, and then now we are looking at, chat GPT, so I'm so glad I'm able to see the entire spectrum of change, which I'm sure you're able to resonate with that also, that we've never experienced anything like this in humanity before. And so I feel we are in the best time ever, for progress, technology. And of course, there are going to be glitches. It's part of course correction. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm an optimist on this. Absolutely.
I'm an optimist too. And I was, I take bets on how far into a conversation will we discuss ChatGPT, as you mentioned it in the first few minutes, because I think it's affecting us on a day-to-day basis. And I think we'll get to that in a second. Sid, tell us about what you do today, where you are today, before we do a flashback.
So where I'm today is, I'm running one of the largest communities in the world for experts, coaches, and trainers. And so coaching, training, consulting has always been, an industry that has been growing over the years. But the different flavor that I bring in is, I help people build communities, not just be information givers, but be nurturers of tribes, and to create digital tribes, and of course take it into offline conversations. So where I'm today is, we have over 20,000 members in our community, who are paid members in our community, and been predominantly focused on India because I'm from here, and of course we have people from all over the world as well. But I'm glad to say that a lot of them, without any training, coaching, background experience, have been able to take their expertise, convert that into products and memberships, and they're able to nurture and build their own academies, digital academies of learning and nurturing their own community. It's not just a one-to-one model, but it's a one-to-many framework, and where the focus is on helping people help each other, rather than being the person giving the knowledge, which it's not about knowledge anymore. It's about creating conversations between people and creating a structure or environment that can create a transformation. So that's what I've been focusing on. And it's been such a fulfilling journey because I've learned all of these things along the way by implementing and tweaking, and nothing is from a textbook. So it's by going with the changing times and learning on the go, listening to my market. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now.
That's amazing. What is your M2P, your massive transformative purpose? How are you changing the world?
I want to redefine the education system by creating a new breed of teachers or mentors or implementers. So that's my main focus, because I'm a college dropout. I don't have any degree next to my name, but I've been able to build something because of associating myself with mentors who are implementers, who had a purpose. So I want to create an army of purposeful mentors who are implementers. And I think that's going to, with that, every other problem in the world can be solved. And this is what I got from one of my mentors, Blair Singer. He says that, the world needs more teachers and leaders. And if we have teachers and leaders who are living their life with strong values, ethics, morals, and a code of honor, they can really create that societal change. So that's the game I'm playing, to really redefine our the entire system of education and employment by creating more leaders and teachers who are walking the talk. Yes.
Amazing. I've been talking a lot in the education space recently, and I'll share some of those thoughts with you. Between teachers and leaders, I would like to put one more contribution to
Yes.
your narrative and to your definition, and that is philosophers.
Yes.
And I'll tell you why philosophers. Philosophers ask questions that don't really have answers yet. Philosophers ask questions about the big issues of the world. They're okay with the discomfort of not having a conclusion, but having a conversation and engagement. And to me, this is one of the most important things that in modern education and modern life we don't have. We're constantly looking for solutions. We're constantly looking for answers. Because have you ever been to a school where they've given you homework? Could you come back tomorrow morning with the 10 most important questions to ask? And nobody does that. Schools don't do that. Now, with ChatGPT there, it's more important to have the power of questioning rather than solutions, because the system will actually provide you with the solutions. So the power of questioning and the power of listening has become so premium in our lives. And I think that's where, the philosophers, the anthropologists, the sociologists, and those kinds of disciplines in the middle, the human disciplines, are just so important. Anyway, I keep going on a rant on this one because I'm passionate about this. Sid, you mentioned that you didn't go to college; you were a college dropout, so therefore you are destined to become a billionaire. Because by definition, all the dropouts do so well. Why do dropouts do so well? Do you go work that much harder? Do you follow your passion? What do you do in your moments of loneliness and insecurity? How do you deal with that?
So when I look at a pattern of this persona type, like the rebel persona, we don't like, for me personally, I didn't want to fit into a box, and I was really inspired by Steve Jobs. I think there's a small video of his, like, the entire society is like go to school, get good grades, don't beat around too much, just be with your family, but that's just a limited life. So I think from my childhood, I look at my pattern is, if everyone is doing something, I want to do it in a different way. Right from school, it's been the same thing. So I was an outstanding student, standing outside class most of the time, playing cricket and music, very creative in that zone. But I learned a lot. In fact, I was reading this book called Range, and how some of the most successful people have a range of experiences that all connect later on in the future. So when I was looking back at my life, it's those range of experiences of, be it sport, playing with, I was in the cricket team for many years, so I learned that camaraderie and the team spirit. Won many tournaments. I learned a lot over there. But I could not sit in a classroom listening to a teacher speak. For some reason, it was not. It felt like I was sitting on pins, except for a few teachers. It was not everyone, but there were a few teachers who their way of teaching would make it very engaging, and it was very immersive. So those kind of teachers I really connected with. So the reason I dropped out was because I was not able to sit in a classroom and the friends, and during those college years I was doing other things. I was playing snooker, I was into cricket, I was into music, all the creative stuff. And luckily I found a course in the creative space. I did my sound engineering in Chennai in 2001. So I was just a 19-year-old kid, and I scored 92% in that university, and they recruited me back to start teaching there. And I was teaching people twice my age, like 40-year-olds, 45-year-olds, how to make music and how to use software. So I guess that was an epiphany moment for me, where I realized that, like, if I just love what I'm doing, everything will fall into place. So we have to connect the dots. This persona type, there could be many people in a similar persona who don't like to fit into society, but who want to like create something or do something different. And irrespective of what the odds can be like, it was very risky. Like in my family, all were super educated, BE, engineering, MS in the US. all the titles next to their name, but I was like more like the black sheep of the family. And it felt odd in the beginning. And even for my parents, I remember there was a time where they felt very awkward with the rest of the family introducing me, like, what do I do? Like the typical question in weddings that comes in, right? What does your son do? And it was very awkward for a few years. But I'm so glad that now it's like a full circle. Many of my family members are my students now. They're learning in my community. They're able to learn this, including my own boss who used to work for me. I used to work for him before. He's worked in Dubai. He's worked in many multinationals as a CXO level. So he's also going through the process, and he's launched a book. It's become a bestseller, and I'm so grateful that those years of not knowing what's going to happen next has actually turned out into something more tangible now. And I'm coming back to that point of range. I had a range of experiences, right, from sport, music, technology at a very young age. So I used to do video editing, audio editing. So those skills I'm using even now, whether it's editing my videos, editing my audio, podcasts. So all the media stuff that I learned is helping me now. And then the next phase, I got a lot of inspiration from 3-4 different places on building communities. I was a part of BNI for many years, so I learned how to build communities over there and hold people together. Even a part of my spiritual organization, I've seen how congregations are nurtured and grown. So I took some ideas from there, and so when I connect the dots, it's more like I was meant to do this, to create more leaders by helping them build their own ecosystems and equipping them with different skills and having a range of skills. And of course, they can also always outsource and delegate, the areas that they can do later. But to be hands-on before you get hands-off is something that I'm propagating in my community. And in today's fast-paced world, I think that's the important thing. So the essence of my journey is it's an Alice in Wonderland story. I never knew I would be doing what I was doing, but I just kept going into the rabbit hole, loving every moment and not taking up anything unless I really loved doing it. So, and that's a pattern that has been right through my life. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're hitting a nail and a nerve for a lot of parents and so on. And I have parents coming to me, please guide my kid. He's about to do a degree in psychology. I said, well, it's an amazing degree. What the hell are you talking about? Or I have my 16-year-old and he is completely rebellious. I said, go to the school and blame the teachers, not the kid. The teachers are boring, and things like that. So I think where I'm going with this is, as we look into the future, as you amplify your voice into the future, which is the core essence of this talk, is it about just finding that passion and that's something you love to do, and then you can iterate from there because you already love it? So work and study and passing your time and hobby is the same thing.
So my thoughts on this is the passion will keep evolving over time. So what passion I had when I was a 19-year-old was different when I was 27, which is different when I was 35, and now I'm 40 plus. So it keeps changing over time, but you need to find like one thread that is common to all those passions, whether it's creativity or expression. Like I love this concept of voices of the future, which is, a lot of people don't have a voice. They're not able to express themselves because they're living like the regular routine life.
Sure.
So I think that when it comes to passion, it keeps evolving, what I've observed. And the best framework that I can think of is the Ikigai framework. Like, so do you love what you do? Are people looking for it? Can you get paid for it? And does the world need it? So I think that's a very good framework and a checkpoint to decide whether you want to do it. Because if you have a passion and if it does not solve a problem, it's still a hobby. And sometimes, a lot of people have hobbies. That's great. Like even for me, I started off in the music industry. It's a hobby for me. I make music even now, but I don't want to solve a problem. There's no monetization model over there. It's just for my own, fulfillment, personal fulfillment. But you have to turn your passion into a prosperous business. All the dots need to align. You need to have the passion for it. You need to solve a problem. It has to be targeted to a particular persona. There has to be a potential in the market. Like, starting a fine dining restaurant during COVID was the worst thing to do. So at that point of time, so you need to look at where things are moving and are people willing to pay you for it? So when all these 5 P's align, then there's something over there. There's something which you can write on. And most people, they jump into it like, this is my passion, but they don't evaluate the other P's. and that's an important factor, because I've seen many of my colleagues and friends who've started off with a passion, but the passion turns into poison when they're not able to make it profitable. It backfires on them. They're not able to. It affects their self-esteem and a whole bunch of other stuff that comes with it. So it's not just passion. That's what I wanted to say. It's other factors.
Understood. Thank you for that clarification. So, as we look at some of the tools, this would be the Ikigai thing, which I use all the time.
Yes.
And I've even taught groups on that. So to me, so that would be one anchor tool for us as we develop ourselves into the future.
Yes.
Would that be right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So fast forward to, let's say, 5-6 years ago, when you got onto your current journey, and I've seen you develop in what I would best describe as an exponential way, where, and this is something a lot of people don't understand, is that if you take a 25-year time horizon for, breaking down the human genome, for example, the first 17, 18, 19 years was below the line, and it was very small iterative changes, and suddenly something happens and you start taking off. What is your journey over the last 5, 6, 7 years? First 1, 2, 3 years, a little bit flatter, and then where, what are the kind of emotions that you go through in that process, and how do you know that you need to stay there, and how do you push through from there?
Yeah, it's a great question, Tariq. And for me, it's been a 10-year journey. In that 10-year journey, 8 years was, I think 7 years were just in that lower end of the spectrum, building skills, building knowledge, but it was not really creating an impact at the scale that it is right now. So the first phase of the journey for me was in 2011, when I started when I went from the working world to starting my own business, just 3-4 of us, agency, and building websites, and doing small social media campaigns for small and medium companies. So that first 3-year phase was more of getting hands-on knowledge, and slowly the kind of clientele that came in started to get better. So I was spending a lot of money on ads and different campaigns, and I was learning in that process by investing my clients' money. So I was going through that journey in the first 3-4 years, and then the next phase was the education part. So I realized that implementing campaigns is one thing, but I had this passion to teach and train. So I started doing many workshops. I think that's the first time we met in Dubai, when I was traveling and doing workshops. And I used education as a means to get clients also. So I would train for a whole day, give strategy. Those who were interested would end up becoming our clients. And we did that for a long time, for at least 2 to 3 years. And around the 7th year, for me, it was a reality check, because we were doing a lot of work for others, and I wanted to be my own boss, start my own company, but I had like 35 bosses, no freedom, no time freedom, even money wise, after paying tools, after paying for my teams, my real estate costs. And of course, in India, there were some clients that would delay payment. So I had to make the whole thing work. I had to pay 35 employees on payroll. So I went through a lot of challenges in that, in the 5th, 6th year mark, where profitability was not really there, even though we were doing great work. But personally, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I was not financially solid. When I would take my wife out for a dinner, I would look into the menu card and look at the cheapest item, and I would buy that. Okay, and it felt very pathetic. And she was pregnant for the second time in 2018, and at that time, I decided, okay, I need to transition now, because I'd given 7 years into it, and I realized at that point is I've got all these skills, but I want to move away from a services model to a more product-based model, where there's more scalability, there's more freedom. And even that journey, it was a pretty intense 3 to 6 month journey for me to actually see the thing pick up. So the first 3 months was relearning and unlearning all that I had, because I had that ego of, okay, running campaigns for big names, but I followed a mentor who showed the funnel-based approach. And how do you sell digital products? How do you construct an offer? How do you sell through webinars? And of course, parallelly, I was going through a lot of personal development, learning from T. Harv Eker, Brian Tracy, and a lot of personal development was happening in the background along with business development. And I think that's something a lot of people miss out on. They feel it's only about the techniques and the strategies, but there's an inner game that that needs to be worked on. And I had to work on my own money thermostat. Coming from middle class background, I had some weeds around money beliefs, which that I had to change. So I went through that process, and then surrendering to a system that was already working. So after 7 years of grinding it, and I wouldn't say it was not fun. It was fun. I learned a lot. I traveled a lot. I got to meet a lot of people. But then the tipping point was when I transitioned from a services based model to a product based model in 2018, and and I never stopped doing what was working. So when I started in 2018, I got sales. I got like 100 customers, 200 customers in 1 month. People would buy. So I didn't change anything. So I did the same thing for 3 to 4 years. Even now, I'm doing the same thing. So I'm not doing anything different from what I was doing 4 years ago. Just that I've improved the system of acquiring customers and scaling it. So I let the compounding of effort take action because something is working. I just stuck to it. I don't want to change a shift board when I knew something was already working. Yes.
Right. I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's compounding effort, and
Yes.
I've seen a lot of this thing, and people give up halfway through that compounding and the
Exactly.
small incremental compounding that there's, because we are so involved in an exponential world that we forget persistence, dedication,
Yes.
resilience, focus, and building on that. And I've seen that in you, and I've always admired you in that process. Uh, One of the unique things that you did, and I'd love if you're okay to share with us on
Yes.
that one, and that is that when you went through this transition, you decided enough of this nonsense, living in a busy environment and so on. You went into Chennai, you went into your own home, and you had no employees. And can you just share that journey? Because that's
Yeah.
very unique, and a lot of people don't do it. And the fact that we can, your
Yes.
journey was wonderful.
The first part was when I developed a product. So I created my own digital product, and a digital product does not require manufacturing, shipping, logistics. So all the overheads were less. So I decided, okay, I'm going to keep my team lean, and I don't want to scale, and let me do it myself first. So it was an MVP, a minimum viable product that I created for like a 5,000 rupee price point. So it's like $100 price point, which is easy for people to consume and buy. And then I just perfected the product and perfected the sales process. That's the first part. Like I would do a webinar, live webinar over Zoom. I would educate for 90 minutes, and then I would give an offer. So I would tell people that if you're ready to be a part of the community, here's the special offer, and people would buy. So that took me around maybe a month to 2 months to perfect. Even to this day, it's the same offer. I'm not changing the products. I did not add a new stack of products. I added more into the mix, but it would be that same transaction, just one transaction for people to get in. So the first phase was perfecting the product, and not perfecting, or just launching the product and improving the sales. And the next phase was I started to do one-to-ones with my customers. So if anyone would buy my product, I would have a 30-minute conversation with them, asking them what are their challenges and how can I help them, and give them like a strategy on a one-to-one basis. Some one-to-ones would go on for 60 minutes, 90 minutes. And in the first 18 months, I've done more than 500 one-to-ones. In fact, my son would come to me and say, "Dad, you're selling a freedom business model, but you don't have any freedom." He would joke with me, but I would tell Rishabh, just wait for a few more years. But I felt that was very important, and I enjoyed that process. So in the mornings, I would record content for my YouTube channel. In the afternoons, like after lunch, I would do 3 to 4 one-to-ones. In the evenings, I would do webinars to sell my product. I would do 2 webinars a week. And when I'm not doing webinars, I would be doing community calls, because I realized that just giving a course, people won't finish it. Like even Udemy, Coursera, people only hardly 5% of people finish courses. So I decided that, okay, I need to reinforce the learning, and I need to clarify and keep nurturing the tribe. So I would be busy 3-4 days in a week, and then I would take a break 1 or 2 days in a week, and then come back the next day and do the same thing. So I kept doing the same thing, doing one-to-ones, selling, one-to-one selling, one-to-one selling, kept going with that. And then as the community started to grow to say 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 members, different set of challenges came about. So I had to now take the load off my back, because I was doing a lot of things in year 2, the 18-month. I was still doing things myself. I was answering 200 emails in a day, 150 to 200 emails a day. Like it would be small emails like, "I don't have my login, I don't have my password. Can you give me clarity on this?" And then that's when I realized that, okay, now it's time for me to get one general manager of operations who can handle that piece. So I sent an email to my own community members telling them that I'm looking to hire somebody who can help me on my communication internally. And only if you resonate with my vision, I would like you to send me a 5-minute video on so that I can evaluate you. I got around 35 videos. One guy seemed promising. He came in and I told him, yeah, I feel that you'd be the right fit for this, but I'm not going to pay you. I want to see your work. So I didn't pay him for 2 months because he got in because he aligned with whatever the vision is. He was not bothered about the income part. So that was the quality I was looking for when I hired this first person. He looked at all my emails. He started to model and reply to those emails. So that first part of the load got off my back in the daily communication part. And even to this day, he is my GMO. So he's handling the entire piece of the business and coordinates with everyone else. Then the second challenge that came in is community. I had to manage my community of around that time 5,000, 7,000 people, and there were a lot of people who were spamming, and because we were just two of us doing things, and I wasn't able to have a vigilant eye on what was going on. So then I hired the second person who's a community manager, someone who looks over like a cop, on what's going on, and removing all the spammers and stuff like that. And then I got my third person on board who's a content manager, somebody who's doing all my social media posts, who cleans up all my ads. So till today, I have just a 3-member team: content, GMO, and community manager. And everything else, whether it's website, whether it's design, all project-based freelancers. So I have dedicated teams. Even my teams that run ads, Google ads, Facebook ads, I've outsourced it, and I'm willing to pay them for their services. And and I'm only looking at results. And currently, even the structure is we don't do weekly team meetings and all the stuff. Very lean. We just have one WhatsApp group. I've trained them on what has to be done. We catch up maybe once in a month just to review. But no news is good news. As long as you're doing your stuff, that's fine. And everybody's virtual. Yeah. So the best part is the teams have grown into the roles over the last 2 years, ever since I started this. And what I've done now recently is people who have achieved results in my community, I have empowered them to become facilitators. So they can lead calls where I'm not paying them anything. They're doing it out of their own, volunteering mindset. They want to volunteer and give 1 day in a month back to the community. I have more than 60 to 70 facilitators. And this community manager coordinates with the facilitators for all the different trainings. So that way, without having a big payroll, without having an office, I've been able to structure the entire system to run in a very lean format. With very less overheads and high profitability because of, of course, a big chunk of my revenues go back into advertising. I run Facebook ads, YouTube ads, so that way I'm able to scale. So that's been the journey. So all my agency experience and all that experience actually helped me now to hire better people, to understand what they need to do, to train them because of the hands-on experience that I had before this. So the dots connected. Yeah.
One of the key things that I saw, which I was hoping would come out of this, but let me ask you the question slightly differently, and that is the work-life balance that you created. You moved back to Chennai, you had no staff, you were spending more time with your family, your wife and your kids. Your kids were at home, you were doing homeschooling and development like that. So when I'm looking at, when we project ourselves into the future, is this a new way for smart people to be able to get away from our day-to-day life and start building this, because we have all of the facilities available? That's the voice I wanted to hear, is that could we be doing that in the future?
Absolutely, Tariq. I feel even a lot of my students are living this lifestyle now, which is a 4-day work week lifestyle. So I tell everyone, work for 2 days, take a break. Then work for 2 days, take a break. So work in cycles. Everything is cyclical in this world. Like day and night cycles. We have the seasonal cycles. Women go through their own cycles. Why not make business cyclical? So I've structured a 4-day work week template that I give all of my students, and tell them, okay, the most important aspects of your business, number one is sales, then content, then comes your financial management and your systems and your technology and courses. There are like 5-6 different things. But if you can put that into a 4-day work week and work in chunks of 2 hours, you can get a lot of stuff done. And the first thing I tell all my students to do is delete social media from your phone. That's the first thing that everybody have to do it, and at least for the first 90 days, because getting into reels, people just get lost. So I tell all of them that be a creator more than a consumer in the first 90 days. Create strategies, create content, create your systems. And then when you have to go and do marketing, then you can bring them on your phone. So that's a big killer of productivity. So the way I'm able to balance my life is I'm not so much on social media, even though you may see me active. I have teams doing it, and I don't get stuck in that loop of consuming endless hours of my time over there. Rather, I'm focusing a lot of my time on building systems internally, setting visions for the what next within my own community, and focusing on sales and making sure that those monthly numbers are, I'm pushing the boundaries, every single month and pushing it to the next level. So yeah, family wise, yeah, I'm able to spend time with my family, with my kids. We go at least 2-3 vacations in a year. And when I'm done with this call, I'm going to go back play with my kids. So I've made that into a daily routine where I spend a lot of time with my family. And my first son is 10 years old. Second one is 5. So most impressionable years, and I want to be there as a father. So I'm proud to call myself as a homemaker dad, so as a house dad and building a business. Yeah.
That's amazing. I had a scary statistic thrown at me yesterday, and that was the amount of hours that it was like screen time. And 21.3 hours I had spent on WhatsApp in the last week. And I'm like saying, this is obviously I am now doing something wrong. And I'm just so hung up in that particular space. So let's just now look forward. Let's spend the last segment of this chat into looking forward, and that is that let's imagine today is 2030, and it's a news bulletin and a chat that we're doing together. It's not 2023; it's 2030.
Yes.
What are the voices that you have left behind today and projected into the year 2030? What would we be saying? What would we be talking about in terms of your life or your vision of the world?
So personally, the voice would be, Siddharth Rajsekar, who redefined the whole system of education. So that's the thing which I've written out a legacy document for myself, like for then projecting into the next how many more years, like. So that's personally, but I would say 2030, we're going to be living in a golden era of the world. And I thought about this deeply, and I want to break it down to 6 stages on how it's going to reach that. Okay, so the first stage is where we are in right now, which we are seeing a rise of influencers, Instagram influencers, podcasters, YouTubers. And there's a very fine line between, you have educators, you have entertainers, you've got people are doing random stuff, growing their brands and their personal brands. So we are seeing the rise of personal brands happening right now in this phase of the world. The next phase, what's going to happen is many personal brands are going to realize that they can't depend on those platforms because something happens, everything goes. Like TikTok got banned in India, so they need to develop their own ecosystem. So we're going to see the second phase where a rise of personal branded ecosystems. Like how I have Internet Lifestyle Hub, even though I'm the personal brand who's driving it, but it's a community brand. So others can be a part of the community as well. So a lot of my students are also doing that. They're creating their own ecosystems, using social media as a channel to get more people into their paid ecosystem. Imagine this is like an oasis. Like the internet is a big ocean, Facebook is a big continent, and this is your own digital island of knowledge, and you're solving a very specific problem. Third phase, I'm going to see what I see is we're going to see more and more of these islands of knowledge being more popular, and collaborations between islands. This is already happening, like between even both of us. You're inviting me to speak in this community here, and I'm going to invite you to speak in my community. So there's going to be a lot of cross-pollination happening between ecosystems. When that happens at a very large scale, I'm saying 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, imagine I have a community of 100,000 people and I invite you, and you have a community of 100,000 people. I go and speak with you, and both our audiences grow with a lot of value exchange that's happening. When that happens, stage 4 is where I see an alternate education system taking form, where parents are going to think about, why should I put my kids in this school? Let me plug them into this ecosystem. And I'm already doing this for my son. So if he wants to learn handwriting analysis, I put him into one place. If he has to learn memory coaching, I put him into another ecosystem. If he has to learn about stock market trading, some other ecosystem. So there's going to be a range of ecosystems that people can learn from. And this is like stage 4. We're going to see this getting more and more popular. And stage 5 is where the masses accept these ecosystems as the new education system. And the only logical outcome, stage 6, is a golden age where people are living more aligned lives. They're going to be lifelong learners, learning new skills from people who are mentors or implementers. And like you mentioned, philosophers, you want more philosophers to drive ecosystems and not just give knowledge, but to create an environment of transformation through games, through interactive elements within the community. And that's what I'm looking forward to in 2030, is a world where everybody's learning and growing, and they're improving every aspect of their life, health, wealth, relationships, money, finances, because those are the big problems that people have. It's not learning calculus and all of that stuff. It's important as people, if they take that trajectory and they want to go deep into science and stuff. But I think that's the era I'm propagating everyone to move towards, is to build communities. Yeah.
Amazing. And I mentioned 2030 and not 2040 and 50 because that's too far out.
Too far, yes.
And the second thing is that the rate at which things are changing. I mean, when you think about it, ChatGPT is only 3 months old.
Yes, yes.
And it's already so actively used. And in another 3 months, it'll be at 1 billion people. And another 3 months after that, it'll be 2 billion people. So the rate of adoption and change and stuff like that is super accelerating now. And it's becoming genuinely exponential. So 7 years is a long, long time in today's world. And that's why I'm choosing more like a 2030 rather than a 2050. So that's amazing. I mean, we've got to that particular point. One thing you didn't mention, and didn't hear that word, there are 2 words that I wanted to focus on. And that is that I feel that as technology surrounds us, which it already is, and we get immersed into it, anything that can be digitized will be, because it'll be 10 times faster and 1,000,000 times cheaper. But anything and everything that cannot be digitized, love, harmony, compassion, connection, intuition, creativity, common sense, judgment, spirituality, empathy, all of these things will be 1,000,000 times more valuable. And in these ecosystems, in these islands, do you have an island of empathy? Do you have an island of compassion? Do you have an island of trust? Because to me, this will define the future. My voice of the future will be about some of these more human attributes and values, superimposing on the digital piece.
Yeah, so the glue that's going to keep the communities together are these empathy, trust, love, and creativity. In fact, I posted a video on my YouTube channel called Miracle of the Century. Of course, it was intended to be ChatGPT, but it was not that. Okay, so because today you can search for whatever you want, and AI is too perfect. Everything is perfect. Yeah. And the conclusion was, what's going to make us valuable is our imperfections. When we go through the mistakes, when we are building communities, when we are vulnerable and we are telling people that, okay, this is what you can do to improve. And when you start to build tribes and communities with love being the glue that keeps everyone together, that's what's going to make us valuable. Otherwise, everything else is perfect. Like, why should somebody go? Like the question was, why should somebody come to a coach when they have all the answers? And the answer to that is, the coach need not have all the answers. They just need to create a space where they can transform and grow. And that's why community. So when I thought about these things, and so what I'm doing now, I feel is one of the most sustainable models in the future. So even whatever technology that comes in, just holding the space for people to bloom and grow, I feel is going to be the differentiator. Otherwise, if I'm just driving with knowledge, I've already lost the battle. Yes.
Sure. If you're looking at more than 40-year-olds, more than 50-year-olds, we are, looking, and in a very judgmental kind of way, towards Gen Z, and your 2 sons are Gen Alpha.
Yes.
The one after 2010. So when you think about that, do these people have a good future? Do they have the right kind of value systems? Is this older generation right to worry about this younger generation?
Mm-hmm. No, it is already happening now, and they're worrying a lot about. I can see even in my community, many of these 45 plus people who have given their blood, sweat, and tears in the corporate world are just getting disrupted, and they do not know what to do. So I guess the concept of being a lifelong learner and picking up new skills irrespective of your age is something which is going to be the differentiator. Like I have a 72-year-olds who are doing my hackathons, and I have a 9-year-old kid also doing a hackathon. So it's not about age anymore. But I guess that category of people, unless they are exposed to like what's possible, they won't really take that plunge. And that's why even my ads and all, I'm targeting a lot of people who are that 35 plus, and I want to really serve that market, because the young generation are born to technology. They know what's going on, and I want to create that awareness. And I think that's also a very vulnerable space, because they have families, they have commitments, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on in their head when it comes to financial security and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely an area to be concerned about. Yeah.
Sure. So my other part of the question was that, are you hopeful for these young people? Are they growing up with the right value system? Are they getting drowned by TikTok? Are they, all of these kinds of things? Are they getting manipulated? I mean, you have spoken about social media, which has helped to build your industry, but they are addiction engines or manipulation engines. Sorry, I'm
Yes,
saying that, but they actually are.
that's true. That's true.
And
Yes.
TikTok is on manipulation and addiction on steroids. So if these people are growing up on this, what kind of value systems, what kind of environments will they grow up, and what will they become? Are you worried about that, and what should we do? What kind of action
Absolutely.
should we take?
Yeah,
Say
I'm
TikTok
really
has been banned in India. Should it be banned in the US? Because I know this conversation is happening right now.
exactly. No, I'm really concerned about that. I'm also aware of what's happening with my own kids, because they are in that generation. And I mean, there are a few things I can control, but a few things I can't, because it's just moving at such a pace. My only thought on this is there is going to be this like mass hypnotization happening, which is already happening, of the young generation looking at or success and other things as like they have some benchmarks, whether it's cars, fancy cars, and what was the Instagram world, that projects. So I feel that's why more teachers and leaders are coming forward, and projecting the right value system is what's going to create that change. Like I have a lot of parenting experts and parenting coaches in my own community who are working with kids and parents, and usually it's a parental problem. It's not a kid problem. When you go deeper into the issue, it's the environment that the parent is giving to the child. So I think my next big thing would be to work on the next gen. That's always been close to my heart, because I'm a father of 2 boys. And what I'm doing now is just preparing this ground. In fact, I had a model also in place. So I asked my community members, like, how many of you would like to, let's start a new school? Okay. How many of you have kids? And when I did a poll, there were 300 kids who were ready. But the only reason I didn't take it on is it's a different animal. If I take it on, I have to go fully into it. But I really want to create a space for the next gen. And when you ask me, it is a big problem, because yes, they'll pick up new skills. There's new technologies. They're fast to adapt. That's the positive side. But the negative side is values, loneliness. So it's just the real life and not the real life. So detoxing is a big one.
It is. I mean, like 15 years ago, I went to a school. The school was called Future Kids, and it was a elementary level school. And I was trying to donate some computers and some other bits and pieces at that point in time. And they said the kids are so far advanced, we don't really need that. The interesting thing, the most popular program they had was Future Parents, because parents needed to learn what the kids are now learning, and they needed to get into pace with them, into alignment with them. So I think future parenting with future development of children are both equally important.
Equally, yes.
To be able to develop this particular process. I said we're getting towards the end of this. I wanted to sort of project ourselves into the future a little bit more. And to me, if you can give us, I know you have a lot of formula and methodologies and so on, the top 2, 3, 4 things that we need to do to really be able to thrive in the future. Survive, everyone will. How do we thrive in the future? And that would be.
Yes. Yeah. I think the first one would be constantly learning, unlearning, relearning. So the Alvin Toffler quote, the successful people of this century are not the ones who can memorize. So memorization is not valued anymore. It's about, navigating through all the information to get what you want. And also the prompt engineering and all that stuff is the buzz. Asking the right questions or thinking. So the first thing is to keep learning new things and being okay with, and I think the crux of this is having a high adaptability quotient. It's not about intellectual quotient, and along with adaptability quotient, having an emotional quotient also, because understanding people and what exactly they're going through. The second part would be a game changer is building communities, irrespective of whether you are a experienced in this or not. Whether because once you put yourself, even if you're going to be helping 10 people, you're in a zone where you're going to do research, you're going to learn, and your level of learning is going to be much higher by being a teacher than just by being a student and by being a nurturer. So building communities and nurturing people would be the second golden nugget, I would say, that will be standing the test of time. And if I have to think about a third, is building skills, and specifically digital skills, media skills, recording videos, coding, and of course now everything's moving to no code, but still understanding logic of how to put things together, and building. If I have to put down, there are 5 skills. First one is the skill of getting traffic to whatever you're promoting, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or whatever platform may be there even 20 years from now. Getting more eyeballs to what you're doing is the first skill. Second skill is to build a list or build a community. Third skill is the skill of selling. Selling is always going to be there, generating offers and getting people to make a decision to buy. It could happen through automated selling or video selling or webinar selling, that one-to-one selling. That's a very important skill. Fourth skill is the skill of copywriting. Even though ChatGPT can do a lot of stuff, but still giving the right prompts and understanding how words can influence people. And the fifth skill is tribe building. So yeah, traffic generation, list building, copywriting, conversions, and tribe building. I think this will stand the test of time, irrespective, even if you're 20, 40 years into the game. So yeah, those are my top points there.
You built, you spoke about some of your mentors. It would be very unfair to ask who's your favorite, but who are your top 2 or 3?
Yes, I've learned from many mentors along the years. But one of the mentors that I'd like to share, his name is Blair Singer. So he's with Robert Kiyosaki, one of his rich dad advisors. And many people don't know, but he has created more leaders in the training coaching industry than anyone else. So he has a program called Train the Trainer. And he's not very popular on social media, but he is truly a master of his craft. So he's the one who helped me find my voice. I was just a social media guy before that, and he was the one who helped me realize there's a deeper mission to it, not just talking about digital, but really using digital for something, for a higher purpose. So Blair Singer is my one mentor. The second mentor is Vic Strizes, who helped me understand the funnel game and how do you build digital ecosystems. I got pieces from there. And of course, Russell Brunson, and he's very popular already in the funnel space. And I have to attribute it to my spiritual mentor, also my spiritual master, who helped me understand how to build communities, because I've been a part of a spiritual organization for many years, and the love, the care, the keeping people together, all those subtle elements of community building I learned from my spiritual master himself. Yeah. And of course, connecting my business for a spiritual cause. It's not about religion here, but it's about understanding that there's a journey beyond this body. And if you can understand and work every single day, thinking about that bigger vision of how you can connect yourself or put yourself in the service of your community to ultimately serve the higher purpose of this planet and world, or God, creator, whatever maybe your beliefs. That vision is something which I never had until I met my spiritual master. So that 33,000 feet above the air vision of the entire perspective, that's very important. Otherwise, we are just looking at the nitty-gritties of stuff. Yeah.
And final couple of questions. You are leading in India, and I know it's a big continent and over 1 billion people. When do you start going global? Are you going global? Are you going global from India? And I'm talking about the ripples as they go, because what you're teaching out there is so relevant and so fundamentally impressive. And I've seen your whole journey all the way through. And when are you going to be sharing some of this and enrolling a bigger community globally? Why 30,000? Why not 300? Why not 3 million?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely that's the next logical step. The only reason I stuck to India is for the marketing costs and everything else. It's cheaper to run ads over here, and there's a huge market to serve over here. So I thought, let's start here. But having said that, there is at least a 10% of my community who are outside India, like who are from Dubai, from Singapore, and they're watching, because whatever I'm posting online, it's going to the wider audience. I may not be running ads targeting those locations, but there's visibility that's happening over there. But definitely the next step is to think about global and form more alliances with other experts such as yourself and in other parts of the world to cross-pollinate and add value to each other and to grow those communities. I've already done a little bit of this working with a few other teachers and experts in the US where they've invited me to their tribe and things like that. But definitely the next step would be global, and I'm taking it in stages because I don't want to change something that's not working. Just ride on this momentum that's here, and that will naturally flow the next step. I think then my next step is definitely in my next book, which I'm thinking about writing for a much wider audience, and to use that as a global thing, as a door opener for global reach. Yes.
So let's put you in a time capsule, take you to your 100th birthday, and ask you what are you telling us on your 100th birthday? Because you will live to 100, 120 on the current trend, on the current trajectory. And I'd love to hear that final voice deep into the future on your 100th birthday. We're coming to celebrate Sid's 100th birthday.
I will just say one thing, which is when your thoughts, words, and actions align, you'll become a magnet to miracles. So live each day as a miracle. Just be aligned and true to yourself. I think that's the only message that I would say. Everything else is, it keeps coming and going.
So that is your final message in a bottle
yes.
for the various people, and wherever they find it, is live each day as a miracle.
Yes.
Any final thoughts for your family and for your community and your loved ones around you?
For my family, definitely I would say live in congruence. It's the same thing, the same message that I shared before. And for the community also, I think it'll come back to the same message. I don't think there's anything higher than that. If not, I'll add one of Jim Rohn's quotes. He says, to have more than you got to become more than you are. So just keep working on yourself.
Sid, it's an absolute privilege, pleasure, honor. Words fail me, actually, and often they don't. But I really am a true fan and a genuine sort of, you're an inspiration to me. And whenever I find myself in trouble in terms of my day-to-day stuff and my business and so on, I always look towards you and then just learn from you. So thank you for being a great
Thank you, Tariq. Yes.
And keep thriving, keep sharing, keep the world aligned. And I love your humility and all of this amazing success you have. You have remained centered, and you remain spiritual, and you remain human, and you remain modest. And that, to me, is one of your greatest achievements on the success journey. So thank you very much. That is your voice, and that is the voice I feel we need to amplify and resonate into the future. And that humility and love and compassion and spirituality is still fashionable. Thank you.
Thank you, Tariq. Thank you. The feeling is mutual. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.